Hello, welcome to Simple English Listening. Today, we will give you some cool tips to hopefully help you have a healthier lifestyle in intermediate level English. Today, we'll speak about phone addiction. Some people can't stop using their phones, but how does that affect our lives and our minds? And top tips today for how can you have a healthier relationship with your phone. So right now I'm in Italy, lovely, beautiful Italy, in the southern province of Basilicata. I'm here with my friend Nikki.
Hello, everyone.
And we worked together in Vietnam, in Saigon for 4 years. No, Saigon for 2 years. Hanoi for 4 years as teachers. He also had to leave Vietnam because of COVID, I guess. How's it going, Nikki?
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, Tristan. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
And also, thank you for inviting me to your home in Italy. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, so we're here at the family. My family has a summer house here. And we've just been hanging out, drinking wine,
Eating pizzas.
eating pizza, lots of olives,
Using our phones too much.
yes, unfortunately. Every time we want to do something amazing, we just get trapped on the TikTok.
Think of all the things we could have been doing.
Yeah. So how's your relationship with your phone generally nowadays?
Well, since it used to be okay, but since COVID began and we've been closed inside a lot more, it's become a lot more tempting to use the telephone at all times. And I feel like a lot of people are always on their phones now because we can't go outside and we can't do the things that we usually used to do. And it feels like we're relying on technology more to socialize, especially with Zoom
And also just to feel just a distraction from the boredom, to feel like it's a quick and easy way to have a little fun.
Yeah.
When maybe there's more profound and better ways too.
Yeah.
So we live in a very different world nowadays. How people think is changing faster than ever. A key reason is because of the arrival of smartphones. One could argue, does AI exist? Well, we have in our pocket AI, which is connected to infinite information and people. Smartphones, they're already changing how people think. The first time I became aware of this, truly became aware, was when I lived in South Korea. I was on the subway train in Busan, which is Korea's second largest city. I noticed there were 20 people in a row, 20, all just looking at their phones, not imagining their futures or wondering about the universe or existence or reflecting, thinking of the things that happened that week, thinking how they could be a better person, a better friend, a better husband. They were just looking down, playing games, or watching videos of people eat in a comical way. Small emojis popping up on the screen. Ping, ping, pong, ping. Or on Instagram, scroll, 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 like mice or rats, pressing the feeder button in a laboratory experiment with a sad smile on their faces. And I remember it seemed so unnatural. I imagined their brains literally turning into vegetables, basically. This was 9 years ago. So 9 years ago, not everyone had internet on their phones. It was just at a very basic level. Now, worldwide, every subway train is the same, globally. So, like in Vietnam, you see this all the time. Like people who let you in and out of the building. And
security guards.
Yeah, security. Like everyone is just obsessively on their phone every moment. that they're not physically doing something.
Well, I can't blame the security guards for being on their phone all the time because it is
Yeah.
a very boring job.
Yeah, it must be super tempting.
If I was in their situation, I would also be using my phone all the time.
And which app would you be using more so?
It depends. But it seems like recently the apps are becoming even more addicting. So before, you used to scroll Facebook and it was quite interesting. You could see photos of your friends. You could read their status updates, stuff like that. Then Instagram came along, which was also quite interesting. It was only photos, so it was much easier to get sucked into it. But now I feel like TikTok is 100 times more addictive. It's like eating a bag of chips. It's like eating a bag of crisps. You always want a new one. You always want the next crisp.
Like they're trying to make it as addictive as possible.
Yes.
Because that's how they make their money. Have you seen this Social Experiment on Netflix?
Yes, I did, yeah.
So that's a good one. You guys should watch it. It says how social media is changing human psychology extremely quickly. The algorithm is directing our thinking because it tells us what to think about. And we live in our own small bubbles of information, closed to other people's ideas. Do you remember when we went to Angkor Wat in Cambodia?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Angkor Wat is a beautiful temple. So Nikki was doing, you loved it. You went to every room and he was like, imagine when this was all in different colors. So anyway, Cambodia, Angkor Wat, it's like is it a wonder of the world?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Well, it should be.
At least a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Yeah.
And he was doing yoga, standing on his head in every room, loving it. And I remember seeing big groups of tourists and they were taking pictures of these beautiful temples, but they weren't even looking at the temples. So Angkor Wat is a deeply historical and spiritual place. It's thousands of years old. You want to feel the history, feel this beautiful civilization that lived there. But instead, many tourists, they didn't even look at the temples. They didn't even look at them. They just saw the temples through the screen of their iPad or their phone, took a picture quickly, tick, 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 and then walked to the next one as quick as possible. And they walked to the next one and the next one and the next one. And they didn't even literally didn't even see the temples, but just saw them through a screen. Mental.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's like that in many beautiful places that one goes to. Be it a beautiful view at the top of a mountain or a famous monument. A lot of the time, people, instead of being there presently in the moment, I mean, I do this too. I don't want to.
We all do, but we have to
people.
And we have to kind of try not to be. You know, we have to actively try to free ourselves from it.
It's as though instead of being there in the moment, we're thinking about how this moment will appear. We want to show it to other people, which is a normal thing. We want to show people our experiences, but therefore we get carried away from the actual experience into thinking about how other people will see our experience.
And that's what's become most important. And sometimes you see pictures of people standing in front of something, looking at it, so they can put on their Facebook stories, look how cultured I am. A picture of me looking at something beautiful, but then you can't really see the beautiful thing in the picture. It's just it's in the background.
Or couples arguing to take the perfect Instagram photo and then looking very cute for the photo.
Yeah.
And then continuing to argue.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Yeah, that's a classic one. So, yeah, as if people don't have the attention span to look at a wonder of the world for even 20 seconds. Instead, they probably just felt nothing. Just another thing to put on their Instagram. But it's not just Angkor Wat. It can be a man playing the violin or looking at a waterfall or a beautiful forest. So often I've seen something beautiful happen and people just ignore it. They return to their phone. They look at it for 3 seconds and don't even attempt to appreciate it.
Or they film it.
Yeah, or they film it. And then they go back to their phone, which is the same thing as what they do 5 hours a day, playing on their phones, watching TikToks. It could be a classical concert, I've seen it, or a ballet, or anything really, just on their phone. And cinema has died. So I used to do a cinema club at our Korean school in Vietnam, and we'd put on these the most classic movies ever, and the kids would just look at their phones and like not pay attention, you know. So cinema has died. When's the last time you went to the cinema?
Oh, I don't know, 3 years ago maybe.
Yeah, same here actually.
I remember.
I think for me it's like before COVID,
Yeah.
like in Vietnam.
Do you remember what you went to see?
I went to watch Aquaman.
I think I went to watch Star Wars, one of those.
And the person I was with was just on their phone for half the film, and then they're just like, "Oh, what's happening now? Oh yeah, oh that movie wasn't very good." As if like, because the thing is they're missing. I'm not saying Aquaman's a good movie, but you know you've got classic movies, and if you're missing like key dynamics between characters, you know, key bits of script. Like my old housemate, who you know well, Craig, he was like that. He'd be like, "Yeah, let's watch this film." And then he just wouldn't even watch it. And then he'd be like, "Oh, yeah, that was boring. That was shit. I wonder why."
Can you swear?
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, fucking right.
He's from the north of England. So, yeah, the way he swears is quite funny. It's as if the average person can't fully appreciate longer experiences.
It also makes it very difficult to teach a class of students because everyone's attention span, including the teachers, is shortened.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to compete and make a lesson interesting when you're competing with a continuous stream of
Yeah, that's a good point.
fun stuff to watch on the internet.
Yeah. I feel like no matter how hard I try and make lessons interesting, they just get more and more boring for the you know, my younger students.
Well,
especially.
it's impossible to compete against video games or TikTok, which before you used to have to go home and log on to your computer to play. And when you're in the classroom, you couldn't just pull out your phone. But now it's like, if I tried to take my student's phone away, it was like trying to take drugs away from an addict. They would,
Yeah.
they would lose their minds and start screaming and shouting.
Yeah. But then at the end of the lesson, when they can get their phones back, they run. Like, they will run at the speed of light and, you know, fight to be first in line to get their phones. Yeah. They'd grab the phones like a drug addict, like taking like a bag of heroin off of a dealer and then running to the nearest shadow to use it. Yeah. And then the other addict friends would like run alongside and, you know, join in. So you went to India recently, and something that made me laugh was you said you met someone there, like an Australian guy, and he would take part in the different meditations and the different sessions and classes, and then he started to disappear from the lessons.
Well, yeah, I was guilty of this as well. So I was in a meditation center up in the mountains, and it was very beautiful, and we could meditate, and I would go meditate and feel very relaxed. And then I would pull out my phone and start watching YouTubes and immediately be reabsorbed back into this world of confusion. Whereas there was an extreme example with my friend who was an Australian man who was a little bit older than me, very intelligent, very interesting. Very hippie. You would never imagine that he would play video games on his phone. Yet, as time went by, he became more and more addicted to the point where he wasn't coming to the meditations. He wouldn't even come out of his room for food. Mm-hmm. He would stay up until 4 a.m. and wake up late, and you know it was very worrying and absurd to see it. And this was a very extreme case, especially for an older man in his 40s.
Yeah, and didn't you kind of try to, I don't know, inspire him to?
Well, I asked him. I was worried. I said, "You're not coming to the meditations anymore. You seem to be addicted to this game."
Yeah.
And he basically had a coping mechanism where he was like, no, it's, I'm meditating through the game.
Yes.
And it sounded absurd, but this is a lot of the time. I don't want to judge because I was also using YouTube far too much, and I had my own addictions, but not to that extent.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
love that though. It's just like, yeah, like I'm meditating through the game or something.
Which is just a coping mechanism for an addict. We always have these excuses which we tell ourselves to tell ourselves that it's not as bad.
So first tip here, going back to when you're in front of beautiful experiences or different experiences or meaningful experiences or longer experiences of some kind, if you come face to face with that experience, try to appreciate it for as long as you can before you have to pick up that phone. It's okay to take a picture, but also stand or sit with the experience or listen to it or watch it and give it all of your attention just for a little while and see how long it takes until you really, really have to pick up that phone.
And also when you get the impulse to pick up your phone and look at it and mindlessly scroll, just pay attention to what is happening in your mind in that moment. When you go to pick up the phone, why are you doing it? Are you doing it because there's an intent, like I have to do something, I have to check an email, or is it just this
to an escape,
this
out of boredom?
Are you aware of why you're doing it in the first place, or are you just automatically picking up your phone and mindlessly scrolling? It's very interesting in the moment to learn why you're doing something, and you can become more aware.
Yeah.
And it's the same. It's not just for phones. It's for food, for any kind of behavior.
So to be more, to basically observe the impulse inside you.
Yeah. What is
in your mind? Or do you feel a certain way that you have to pick it up?
Yeah. Just watch yourself in the moment.
Yeah. And you can tell that he's been studying in India. Great advice. So TikTok videos are like 30 seconds long, right?
They can be longer now, but they're usually much shorter.
But so TikTok made it so it's like, how can you capture as much attention in a very short period?
Yeah, it's instant gratification. So like YouTube, sometimes like a YouTube video will be 20 minutes long. And after 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, boring. And I'll go to something else. And I'll click from one YouTube video to another. And I'm not really paying attention, or I'm reading the comments. But with TikTok, it's just immediate 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, next video. Just sometimes the video is 30 seconds long. Maybe it's 2 minutes long. It depends. But they're much more gratifying in that sense.
Next, boredom. So we live in a world where no one is ever bored. Being bored, it is good to be bored. One-on-one time with your mind. Many people can't even remember the last time they were bored. Bored, meaning when you're a bit frustrated because you have nothing to do or nothing to think about. Bored. Because when you're bored, they can always take out their phone to stop the boredom. When you're bored, you get to know yourself better. You can understand your emotions better, cultivating wisdom. You can plan and think about your life. Our brains think of more creative ideas. According to Psychology Today, boredom improves your mental health, your mind health. It's a time your brain relaxes and also resets and digests and takes in and processes all the new information from the day. Boredom is necessary for a healthy mind. When bored, we think of new ideas and also novelty. Novelty, which is new stimulation and adventure. Novelty, which helps us have a wider variety of experiences, new goals, accomplishing new dreams. In my own experience, my greatest ideas have come from when my mind's in a relaxed state. This is often a time when the subconscious delivers our greatest ideas. We need boredom. Boredom is a gift. But if every time you're bored, you pick up the phone, scroll through Instagram, play games, then you remain satisfied. Remain satisfied in a very basic, very simple way. And you're not giving your mind the necessary space, the space of boredom to flower with new ideas and creativity and a deeper understanding of yourself and of the things you want in life. How many people are just leading automatic lives, living in an automatic way because they never, even for just 10 minutes, think more deeply about their lives and what they want? They remain satisfied when their lives are less than optimal. Optimal, meaning ideal, perfect. Their lives can be better. Do you make time for boredom, Nikki? Like consciously?
It depends what you mean. I mean, boredom is, I would say it's a uncomfortable feeling, right? It's not a comfortable feeling. But it's something.
Which is why people want to escape it.
Yeah, it's something in our mind telling us, nagging us, telling us that we should be doing something that we're not doing. We're procrastinating. We're ignoring our duties or things that we should be doing with our day, or that we could be using our time more effectively. But to use our time more effectively usually means that we need to put effort into the time. It might be because you need to get out of bed and go exercise, or it might be because you have to write that paper for university that you don't want to do, but that because it's a struggle and it's difficult to do. So the boredom is usually when you're uncomfortable just being there because something in your mind is telling you that there's something else that you should be doing. And so how do we respond? We usually respond by distracting ourselves with feel-good emotions. We'll go eat a bag of potato chips, or we'll turn on the TV, or we'll go on Facebook and see, anything to distract us from that feeling, that uncomfortable feeling of boredom. But boredom could mean it's a complicated feeling, and it's a very interesting one if you can become friends with it and really explore the roots. Explore where the boredom comes from and why the boredom is there, and you can be liberated from it instead of always escaping the boredom.
Awesome. So another tip: consciously make time for yourself. Make time for, you can call it boredom or just sitting down with no distractions, with no picking up your phone. One-on-one time with yourself. Sit in a chair for 20 minutes each day.
And be bored.
Yeah, or 30 minutes, and just leave your phone inside and just enjoy it. Just observe your thoughts. Be bored. Just sit completely naturally. And this is you in a more natural state as well. Another funny observation. Right, so maybe this is true. Maybe it's not. See what you think. So relationships. So how many dates have you seen where both the man and the woman, or whatever kind of couple it is, are just on their phones? If phones didn't exist, what would they be doing? Chatting, talking, trying to, feeling the other person in some way. Not physically necessarily, but feeling their vibes. Would they even be together? I wonder how many relationships actually don't work or are not healthy or good, but the couple doesn't know because they rarely actually speak with each other, but they can just about bear or tolerate each other because every date they go on, they just go on their smartphones. You see it all the time.
Well, at the same time, telephones are very comforting because it's like having this friend in your pocket that you can pull out to help you with awkward situations. So a lot of the time, if your phone wasn't there, you would have to face the awkward situation. You would have to find something to talk about. But it becomes this compulsive behavior where I know it because I've been there myself. It's very easy to pull out the phone. But imagine you're at a party and you don't know many people there, and you don't know who to talk to, and you feel a bit shy, you feel a bit awkward, and you think people are looking at you. They're like, this person's just standing there by himself. And so you instinctively pull out your phone and look at it just to pretend like you're doing something, to make it look like you're not just standing.
You're right. It's another distraction, just like getting another drink.
It's just to make you seem busy, like you're important or you're doing something. And it's the same on a date where both people feel awkward. It's very easy to pull out your phone.
But also maybe some people are maybe in less than optimal relationships, because they can always just escape reality.
Well,
pick up their phone.
Maybe they also become bored of each other. It's interesting. For example, Tinder. Nowadays, people go on dates on Tinder, but while they're on the date itself, they're already looking for the next date because they're always looking for the next thing. What the internet has done is it's opened the world up to us. So instead of seeing what is right in front of us, we're always imagining what could be. The grass is always greener on the other side. And with this person now, but I wonder who else is out there? Who else is more beautiful, is more
and of course, there's like millions of different options because we have it all on the internet. Yeah, we're presented with so many. Like you have to kind of have an element of not thinking the grass is greener in the neighbor's garden, because maybe some people, they always think that.
I think
maybe I'm one of those people actually.
Have you heard of Bo Burnham?
No.
He recently made a movie called Inside, and in that movie there's one of his songs which is about the internet, and there's a sentence which is the chorus, which is a little bit of everything all of the time, which is basically a good description of the internet. You can find a little bit of everything all of the time. So with a phone in your pocket, you're always connected to everything, and you can find little bits of pieces of the world at any moment. But is it the real thing, or is it just a little, like a little fragment of...
Which is something usually quite fake, even.
Yeah,
not real.
Can you really experience the real thing if I look at pictures of
someone going around an art gallery pretending they like art, and you're like, oh wow, that person seems so cultured, but that's like the most exciting thing that they've done like all month.
Or I can look
and they don't actually like art. Yeah, they're just there for the photo.
Or I can look at pictures of sushi all day, and it's not the same as eating sushi or learning to make sushi.
So it's all like a superficial experience.
That being said, there's a lot of amazing things about the internet,
of course,
but it's a tool. It's a tool that needs to be, you should use, and you should not be used by it. So it's that difficult balance between the two things. In the same way that your phone is a tool for you, but a lot of people, myself included, get trapped in being used by the tool rather than the tool
used and abused
being there for us.
So next, let's talk about dopamine. Do you know what dopamine is? Your brain releases a chemical called dopamine when it feels rewarded. When you do an activity you enjoy and usually related to your survival, so survival when you eat food, drink, have sex, go shopping, do your favorite hobbies, or are productive in something you care about, you get a shot of dopamine, which makes you feel good, makes you feel happy in that moment. Phones also give us that. When you receive an email, dopamine hit. When you get a Facebook like, dopamine hit. All these apps are built in a way that gives you small dopamine hits. Just like when literally like taking drugs or gambling at a casino, these things also stimulate you in that way. Recreational drugs such as cocaine, MDMA, increase chemicals in your brain that make you feel good too. So therefore, what's the difference between getting a hit of dopamine from your phone or a line of cocaine?
Well, some would say that it's even more dangerous on a phone because it's more continuous and therefore can create more long-lasting changes to your brain. And the reason dopamine usually is released in anticipation of a reward.
Okay.
And so when you scroll, your brain is releasing dopamine because it's in anticipation of the next video. It's like your brain is saying, ooh, I wonder what the next video will be. And you scroll and,
Whoa.
okay, ooh, and it keeps you going. It's this anticipation loop of, it's what motivates us to go out. And
So I guess, but someone taking cocaine, at some point they run out. They run out of money.
Yeah.
Phones.
Well, cocaine
all you need is your electricity. Is it a power adapter?
I guess also because cocaine is recognized much more as a problem. It's not something that is socially acceptable. I mean, there are some people that get addicted to cocaine, but it's not something that everyone is doing all of the time. Whereas being on your phone all day is not seen as a big problem. And that's why it's even more dangerous, because it's this continuous low-level dopamine release all the time, which slowly warps your reward system and how you see the world. In fact, if you're on your phone all day, you're much more likely to be depressed, to not be satisfied with your life, to always be looking for other, and even be more bored and more,
So I mean, so they're all unnatural simulations that create dopamine where, like, naturally there shouldn't be. And you lose your time and health with both of them, really, with your phone and drugs. How is this a problem? Well, it makes your brain dull, numb, bored, and unexcited by the things it should normally feel excited about. Maybe spending time with your family, going on a trip, eating something delicious, playing with your dog. These things just become boring. How do you feel if you go a few hours, if you go half a day without your phone?
Oh, I definitely feel better, but it depends if I have things to do. So if I have an objective in my life and I have a goal that I'm trying to achieve, then I can focus on that and use my time effectively. But if I wake up in the morning and I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and I'm just kind of sitting there bored and I don't have an aim, it's very easy in that case to pull out the phone and ignore your problems or the things that you should be dealing with, the boredom, which is represented through boredom. And instead you overdose on dopamine by looking at your phone all day. And in fact, after 2 hours of being on YouTube or Twitter or TikTok, you don't feel good. You don't feel refreshed.
Yeah, it's true.
You're not like, that was nice.
Like your brain feels exhausted.
You feel like
if I'm
frazzled.
If I'm a few hours without it, maybe half a day, well, I think many people, and possibly myself included, we feel weird. Like I really, really, really want to look at the phone. And then you look at it and dopamine hit right into the veins. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. These companies make billions and billions of dollars by basically changing the chemical reactions in your brain, making you want that next sweet, sweet injection of dopamine. A message here, a comment there, an emoji here, a like there. That dopamine. They love my story. 3 hearts, 5 hearts, 7 hearts. Put it right in my veins. Also, looking at our phone and checking our messages can also make us feel stressed, can ignite our fight or flight response, which is a kind of stress. Like if someone you think is going to start a fight with you or something.
Or you see a bear in the woods.
You see a bear in the woods, Or your heartbeat can quicken. Our breathing can get tighter. We sweat. If we look at, like we see on our Gmail, a message has arrived from someone like, oh no, I don't want to read that now. Maybe it's nice to have a break from it every so often.
And be bored. I remember some of the happiest moments in my life were when my smartphone would break. And I would have to buy a quote unquote dumb phone. And I could only send text messages or receive phone calls.
Well,
and I remember feeling much more, the first few days it was a bit stressful because You have to get used to it.
Yeah.
But then after that, it was so liberating to be able to.
Well, when I was in India, I traveled India about 7 years ago, and I had no phone, and I would check my emails in an internet cafe once every 4 or 5 days. And to be honest, looking back, I think those were like the happiest and most free days of my life.
But nowadays, it's almost impossible not to have a smartphone because if you have a job,
Yeah.
if you have a family, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, you're constantly having to. People expect you to be 24/7. I mean, reachable at all times.
That's right.
So
it's expected.
It's not acceptable to not have a smartphone.
I mean, imagine if you didn't check your phone for 4 days. How scary would it be good to return to your phone and finally check it? You'd be like, oh my God.
But like even now, you have to have a smartphone with the like here in Europe, we have the green pass to show that you've been vaccinated.
Yeah.
And you need a telephone. So even if you want to go to a bar or a restaurant, you're expected to have a phone so you can show your green pass. Or you can, I mean, I guess you can go around with a piece of paper too. I should.
But basically, there's no freedom from. So there's certain elements of my life that are in my phone, basically, and related to, I mean, my social life, my different projects, this podcast, everything. And it is always with me. Like, as long as the phone's there, like, there's no break from it, and break from the working life. So according to Business Insider, notifications from our phones are training our brains to be in a near constant continuous state of stress. This can cause our brain signals to go haywire. Haywire means to go all over the place and basically shut down. 86% of Americans say they check their email and social media accounts constantly, which just means repeatedly, and it's very stressing. Last year, psychologists and computer scientists found a connection. The more tapping, clicking, and social media posting and scrolling people do, the noisier their brain signals become. For teenagers especially, they have to deal with the extra drama and sometimes bullying that they can't escape from, and their minds aren't quite mature enough to know how to get space from their phones and that part of their life. The University of Arizona found that smartphone dependency leads to depression. Depression, to be dependent on your smartphone, leads to depression, loneliness, and anxiety among teenagers aged 18 to 20. And a 2017 study by the Journal of Child Development discovered the same, as well as sleep problems in teens. And the blue light. So when I go to bed, I usually look at my phone and wake up different times throughout the night and listen to different podcasts and kind of sleep to these. But the blue light famously disturbs people's sleep patterns, damages our vision, basically makes us go blind quicker. In not sleeping properly, this affects our memory and our energy levels. The next day, our ability to focus our attention on things. Without proper sleep, our minds can't reset properly and take in and process the information from the previous day. Also, lack of sleep makes us hungrier, which can lead to obesity, which means being fat. Obesity, which is related to most health problems in America, many other places. So how can we improve? How can we have a healthier relationship with our phone?
Well, you can put the reading mode on your phone, and that blocks out the blue light.
Reading mode on the phone will block the blue light.
And preferably don't use your phone an hour before going to bed or an hour after waking up, which for me is really difficult. I always look at videos before I go to sleep.
Yeah, that's the most difficult time, is to not look at the phone.
And if you think about it, it's terrible. You're falling asleep.
Yeah.
Watching videos, and
Yeah.
then waking up, and you need to check the time, and you look at your phone, and
Yeah. So some more advice. Some celebrities, such as The Rock and Tim Ferriss, they go one whole day per week, usually Sundays, one whole day without their phone and social media. So they have one day off per week, a holiday from their phone lives.
It's a dopamine detox.
Dopamine detox. Nice, they got a name for
And
it.
some people push it even further, and so they don't look at their phones, they don't eat food, you can only drink water and journal
Oh, wow.
for 24 hours, and it's supposed to be a dopamine reset, dopamine detox. And you're basically extremely bored all day, but you have to sit with that boredom, and
So it's connecting with oneself.
and then the next day,
Reconnecting.
you eat some food and it's a lot more exciting, or you talk to someone on the phone and it's a lot more exciting, or you watch a YouTube video and it's, wow, this is really interesting, instead of it just being this passive consumption.
Yeah. And also, another one, try to make off time during the day. So off time, for example, so you can't look at your phone between, for example, what I try is 9 a.m. and lunchtime, or after lunch until dinner. So you go a few hours in a row without looking at the phone. When going to sleep, leave your phone in another room or somewhere difficult to get to, like on top of your wardrobe, so you can't reach it during the night. These are some ways to help the brain return to a more natural and relaxed state. Turn off your app notifications. You don't need them. They just stress you out more. Keep notifications on silent, or so they don't come up on the, when you switch it on and like the notifications come straight up, or you simply look at it and they're already there. Think before you record a photo or video. Does everyone on social media really, really, really need to see you looking at a field? Probably not. If you go to a concert, hundreds, thousands of people are all taking the exact same shaky, awful sound quality video.
Which they will never watch again.
Which they'll never watch again. Exactly. Is it that special? Does everyone really need to see it? Or can you just enjoy the moment? Social media. Delete any social media that aren't productive for you. They don't really add value to your life or help you achieve your goals. Certain ones do, certain ones don't. So lots of them, you don't need them. So try things like delete Facebook for a week. Yeah, delete Instagram for 5 days. It's not so long. See what happens.
See how you feel while you're using the app. Do you feel better or do you feel worse after using TikTok? A lot of the time also on TikTok, you're seeing beautiful people living beautiful lives. Or really, some of the videos are very funny and very entertaining.
Yeah.
But some of them also kind of make you feel like your own life is not as exciting as it should be.
That's the thing with Instagram and Facebook stories. Like, people know this. Everyone on Instagram and Facebook, their lives are way, way more dull and boring than you think they are.
But
from
also,
what you see on Instagram.
Also, it is possible. Some people have better lives than us. Some people have much worse lives than us. But if we're always looking at the lives of people that are better off than us, we fail to appreciate what we do have. And one of the biggest secrets for happiness is to always give thanks and be grateful and focus on what you do have instead of the things that are lacking. And if there are things that are lacking that you need, find out ways to achieve those things, and also realize, is it really something that I need? Is it really something that is important to my happiness, or is it just something that...
Yeah, that's a good one. So focus on, be grateful for the things that you do have. And
be grateful even for wake up in the morning and say, thank you, I have 2 hands, or I've woken up another day and I can breathe the air. It's a very subtle but very powerful
And what some
exercise.
people do, they kind of write down 5 things that they're grateful for at the end of the day that happened that day, or in the morning, generally in their life. Okay, next, at work or when you eat, keep your phone in your pocket, or it just doesn't need to be on the table next to you, does it? Some people I used to work with, their phone would be next to the keyboard on their desk at work. So every notification goes pop, pop, and they pick up their phone. Bip, 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 it's just like, do they really need that? They can see every notification, ping, ping, ba, ping, 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 ping. And, not getting dopamine the natural way.
Maybe put it in a cupboard. Don't keep it in your pocket.
Yeah.
They say that the radiation from a phone might be bad for your skin. So who knows?
And gives you like testicular cancer.
In the worst case scenario. So maybe try not to keep your phone on you at all times.
Yeah. What I try to do is, so the morning until lunchtime at work in our school, I put my phone in my backpack and just check it at lunchtime and then again in the afternoon. Okay, next. Before you leave a comment on Facebook or any social media, before you leave a comment, think, do you really need to do it? Because people will respond and then there'll be a conversation or argument about nothing that matters that much. And that might take hours of your time, like the feed of different comments. Do you need it? Remember, every action causes a reaction. So do you need to do the action that starts the reaction? Can you deal with the consequences? Because sometimes just one comment will start a whole conversation that takes 2 days until it finishes. And it's just, kind of ridiculous. Maybe there's better things you can do with that time. Natural ways to get a dopamine hit. So rather than social media, what are some natural ways to get dopamine hit? Go for a walk. Try something new. Meditate. Have a better diet. Cut down on processed sugars. Learn to cook a new recipe. Listen to music. Watch an interesting movie or listen to a podcast. Learn new exercises. Get better sleep.
And also realize that it doesn't always have to be a reward. Sometimes the best things in life come from struggle, and in the beginning they might feel very painful and we don't want to do them, but in the long term there's a reward down the line. No pain, no gain. Usually the most satisfying experiences in our life come because we've worked very hard for them. And I'm sure you've experienced this yourself.
Like there doesn't need to be a stimulation. You don't need to actively look for dopamine. Just simply sit with what's natural.
Right now I'm trying to play the guitar and I'm terrible at playing the guitar. But imagine the satisfaction 2 years down the line if I've been practicing every single day instead of being on TikTok for 2 hours. Well, there's a lot of potential.
One final one. If you're waiting in a line, in a queue, or waiting for the bus, see how long you can go without looking at your phone. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the boredom. Reflect on your awesome life. Think of your goals and your dreams. Be creative. See how long you can go without looking at the phone. Okay. Do you have anything to add, Nicky?
No, thank you very much for.
Well, thank you. No, thank you so much. I think we can all be very thankful for Nicky here with his words of wisdom.
I hope it was interesting, and I'm going to try to work on not using my phone as much.
Me too.
I've realized that I'm letting my life pass me by.
Same.
Instead of
experiencing
it in the moment as it should be.
And I feel like I've been wrestling with my phone relationship for like a long time now, to be honest, 2 years. And I always think of new ways to deal with it.
It's very difficult. It's one of the biggest challenges to do. So if you do find yourself very addicted to your phone, no shame. Pretty much everyone is nowadays. So it's an extremely difficult thing to...
But there definitely are health benefits of having a better relationship with it. So good luck, everyone, on your adventure through life and creating better conditions for you to be happy and reach your excellence. Thank you, everyone. So it's been a pleasure as always. Next podcast, we will speak to one of my best friends. He has found God. Yeah. So that'll be an interesting podcast. We'll talk about his spiritual journey of recent. So he never used to be religious. This is the thing. And suddenly, now he is. So we'll chat to him about that journey and his new discoveries. Okay, lots of love, everyone, and see you on the first day of next month. Bye.